You ever hear a story that stays with you for years? I've seen all kinds of darkness, but there's one story I still think about sometimes. The night Claire Hawthorne vanished. It started in Denver, Colorado. A freezing night, snow coming down so heavy it felt like the sky was collapsing. I got a call around 1:13 a.m., a 911 emergency from an abandoned rest stop on II-70, a woman screaming. And then the line went dead. When I reached the place, there was nothing but silence. Just a single black Jeep sitting in the middle of the lot, engine still warm. And inside that Jeep, Claire's purse, her laptop, a coffee she didn't finish, and a streak of blood on the steering wheel. But Claire herself, gone, completely gone. I remember standing there, snow hitting my face, thinking, someone took her, and they took her fast. Next morning, we checked her office. Everything was perfectly organized, except one drawer. Inside, it was a red folder stuffed with documents, offshore accounts, fake companies, illegal payments, all of it pointing to one name, Regal Mining Solutions. And there was a note Claire left behind. Short, simple, terrifying. Follow the trucks, they're moving more than ore. That's when I realized Claire wasn't just missing. She was hunted. 2 days later, we found a half-frozen man on a mountain pass, bullet wound in the shoulder. Barely alive. Before he passed out, he whispered, "She jumped. Wouldn't let me take her." That hit me like a punch. Claire had escaped. Someone tried to kidnap her, and she jumped off a ridge to survive. The drop was 200 feet, in a blizzard. And somehow, she lived long enough to keep running. We followed her trail down the ridge and found a small shelter she built from branches and tarp. Inside, scratched on a piece of wood, were 4 words, "Not safe. Get my sister," which confused the hell out of me because Claire didn't have a sister, or at least that's what we thought. Turned out she did, a younger sister named Lena, hidden in her adoption records. A nurse who had blown the whistle on Regal Mining years earlier and then disappeared from public life. When I finally tracked her down, she didn't act surprised at all. She just stared at me and said, "Claire found something, didn't she?" I nodded. Lena sighed. Regal Mining is dumping toxic chemicals into small towns. People who talk about it vanish. And then she said something I'll never forget. "They'll kill her for this. They'll kill both of us." A day later, a hunter reported smoke from an abandoned cabin deep in the forest. We went there immediately. Inside, Claire had left behind a burned phone, a makeshift splint, and a map she'd circled Regal Mining's abandoned refinery. She was injured, freezing, hunted, but she was still fighting, still trying to expose the truth. I reached the refinery around sunset. The place was old, metal groaning in the wind, shadows stretching across the empty concrete. And then I saw her. Claire stepped out from behind a tank, limping, exhausted, bruised all over. "Don't talk loud," she whispered. "He followed me." Before I could even react, gunshots echoed inside the refinery, sparks flying off the metal. We ducked behind a tank, and Claire held up a small flash drive. "This," she said, "is everything. Emails, logs, proof. Enough to bury them forever." The hitman's footsteps were closing in. Slow, steady, confident. Just when I thought he had us cornered, I heard a scream, a loud thud, metal clattering. When I looked up, the hitman was on the ground, and behind him stood Lena, her hands shaking, gripping a heavy metal pipe. "He wasn't taking her again," she murmured. The evidence Claire collected brought down the entire operation. Executives were arrested, people got justice, and Regal Mining was finally exposed. But Claire and Lena, they didn't stick around for the spotlight, they just disappeared. Sometimes every few months, I get a postcard. No return address, no message, just a mountain, a lake, maybe a sunrise. Only once did they write something on the back. Thank you for not giving up on us, and that's the story. The one I still think about. The one that reminds me. Sometimes justice comes quietly, and sometimes the people who survive hell don't want to be found again.